Dad Mindset, episode 4. Alright, let's get started. So, Alpha Dad Mindset, episode 4, we'll be talking about being a positive male role model. And, well, before I get started, I noticed in the last video I did, the audio was a little bit off. So hopefully I'm going to adjust this audio for video this week, and hopefully it won't be a problem. How do you be a positive male role model for your kids, for your son, and for your daughter? Well, to start off, if you're having a son, having a daughter, for me, if you watch the past videos of Alpha Dad Mindset, myself, I'm having a son. So, for my situation, being a father of a boy is, I'm the same sex parent. So he's going to be born March, April, and he needs someone to look up to. He is born into this world, and he needs to know how to be a man. And who's going to model that behavior for him? How is he going to know how to be a man? Well, the person for that job is me. I'm the same sex parent, and he's going to look to me of how to be a man. So if you have sons yourself, or you're going to have a son, you need to be very aware and be very insightful of your own behavior as a man, and how you behave and interact with everybody in your life. And not just your behavior, it's your lifestyle. It's your habits, it's your structure, it's your routine, is what you do. And you need to model that behavior, because you decide, at the end of the day, you decide what kind of man you want your son to be. Okay, you decide for yourself the kind of man you want your son to be. Once you've decided that, you need to model that behavior of what you've decided. You need to be that guy of what you decided to be. Because kids, they're going to look at everything you do. Everything. Like they say, kids are sponges, right? They're going to look at every single detail. Kids are not going to do what you say. They're going to do what you do, how you behave, and how you interact. My son is going to look at me when it comes to interacting with women. How I interact with my girlfriend is going to set an example of how he's going to interact with women, how women are going to interact with him. That's the example. I set the example of my interactions with my girlfriend, of the mother of my child. And he's going to be able to look at that example and follow that. And for me personally, I didn't grow up with a good male role model. I would say, I have a few father figures in my life. You know, father wasn't really a dad, or wasn't really into being a father. Stepfather was kind of, he tried, but there wasn't any real deep connection there with him. My third male role model that came into my life around 21, 22, he was the guy that stuck. He was the guy that really made an imprint and a big influence and a big impression on my life. And still to this day, this watch that I wear every single day was passed down from him to me. And he's made more of an impact on my life in 11 years that he was in my life than the two father figures I had when I was growing up as a child. He was the guy that I looked at. When he passed, I was 31, 32 years old when he passed. But I still to this day look at him and see, he's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy that I want to mold myself after, and the guy who actually made a good impression and made a good example for me to follow, and it was all based on his behavior, his lifestyle, and how he interacted with other people, how he interacted with my mother, how he interacted with family members and friends, and how he interacted with me. Made the impression of me, and that set the example. All right, now I get a good idea of what a good father, a good alpha father, is supposed to be like. Great, awesome. Now I'm going to set that example for my son. Decide for myself. Create the principles, the laws, the narratives, rules, whatever I want to create, and however I want to decide to raise him, and decide that and be that positive male role model for me and for him, and be able to, I guess, steer and influence my son in the direction that I want him to go. Well, at the end of the day, he's going to grow up. He's going to choose the direction he wants to go, but I'm going to set a strong foundation for him. And hopefully if you're watching this and you're looking to a little bit of insight on how to raise your own son or your own daughter, set that foundation. I did a video last week about having a vision for your child. Have a vision of what you want to do. And this is be clear in this, I'm going to emphasize this, is that this is a video for dads. It needs to be a vision of you as a father, as a dad. It's not your girlfriend's vision, it's not your wife's vision, it's your vision. And you can go back and watch that. And following that vision that you create, what needs to follow is your rules and your principles. What do you want to do? What direction do you want to set them in? And build that foundation for them. And once that strong foundation is strong, healthy foundation is set for them, then they decide for themselves what they want to do. But they need to be led. And you're the father figure. They're going to look to you, your example. They're going to come into this world. They're not going to know what to do. They need someone to show them, lead them, on how to navigate this tough world sometimes. So that was specifically related to boys. I'm going to jump into raising girls. For girls, you're not the same sex parent as a father. You're not. The mother is the same sex parent. So the mother's going to be that positive female role model for them. So they're going to look to their mother on how to be a woman, how to interact with the world, how to navigate the world through a woman's eyes, through a woman's experience. Okay, well, what's the father's role? Well, how she's going to view men, how your daughter is going to view men, and her interactions and her connections with men that she meets in her life is going to start with you. It's going to start with the father, with the dad. So, for example, if you're a father or a husband who really has a hard time really setting strong boundaries, or really being firm, or really being assertive, and really being able to be strong and lead, and always, referring to your wife's authority and your woman's, girlfriend's authority, and always doing what she wants to do, and always agreeing with her, and never opposing her opinion, and always doing what she wants, like, yes, honey, of course, honey, I'll do whatever you want, honey. And your daughter's going to grow up and see this behavior. What's going to happen is that she's going to steer herself in two directions. She's going to either steer herself towards a man who is overly dominant, overly assertive, overly aggressive, because she needs what she lacked from a strong father figure. She lacks strong boundaries. That's what she's looking for, and she's gonna possibly go too far go too far in the extreme and go into a completely opposite direction of finding a guy later in life that's way too strong, way too aggressive, potentially abusive for her, way too much, because she's trying to look for leadership. She's trying to look for a guy a father figure who will be supportive and be strong and be able to set really firm boundaries with her and being able to tell her no. And children don't know this, and they won't admit to this because it's all subconscious. Children want boundaries. Children want structure. Children want you to tell them no. Why? Because it creates a sense of security. It makes them feel safe. They may be angry. They don't like you saying no to them. They may not like it. They really may not like it, and they may oppose to it, but on a very subconscious level, they like it, and they feel connected to you, and they feel secure with you, and that's what children need. And that's what, if you're a man raising a daughter, you need to be able to set those firm boundaries, especially when they're older and they become teenagers, and they really start testing you. You know how, you can imagine what teenage girls are like, right? Raising a teenage girl, they're really going to test your boundaries, and you have to practice. You got to learn to be a very strong, be a very assertive male role model for her. And if you're not that strong, assertive male role model, like I said, it can go into one direction of going to find a guy who's a little too aggressive and too dominant because she's trying to find that because she didn't have that in her father growing up, or go in the other direction where she finds someone exactly like her father, who's weak, who doesn't set strong boundaries, who doesn't lead effectively, who doesn't say no when he needs to say no, always saying what he needs to say to make her happy, so she's not upset. And truth is, women aren't happy with a guy like that, right? And it applies to raising a daughter too. Your daughter is not going to feel safe with you, no matter if she's a little toddler, no matter if she's a little 8-year-old, no matter if she's a teenager or if she's a 30-year-old woman. Your daughter's not going to feel safe with you if you can't set firm boundaries and stay strong. Women are going to, and this is just women in general, are going to be more connected with you if you know how to be strong, if you know how to be masculine. Be respectful, of course, at the same time, but when it's time to say no, when it's time to disagree on a certain subject, or it's time when you're in the middle of a decision-making process with your daughter, and you're only saying yes just to make her happy on a very subconscious level, she's going to know you're BSing her. She's going to know that. She's going to know. And she's going to push, and she's going to start testing you more and more and more. So eventually she's going to grow up and start looking for a guy who's very similar in that respect. Yeah, so like I mentioned, you got to be able to set those firm boundaries and be that strong male role model. Whether you have a son, whether you have a daughter, you got to be that strong role model for them and for their future. And you got to realize that you can't be your child's friend. You got to be their role model, whether a boy or a girl. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, got some value out of it, do me a big favor, like and subscribe, and I will see you next Monday for Alpha Dad Mindset episode